Welcome back, Generals, to another Let's Fix Generals 0 Hour to make the best game ever. Good, so last session we did attempt to re-implement the fix that Stubiax has presented for fixing the idle worker in containers, because I'm not entirely happy with the implementation. But the implementation that I made had bugs. Yeah. And last session, I didn't really know how to proceed on this, but I think I have an idea now. Yeah. Let's see, maybe we can salvage this implementation, or maybe not. I'm not sure. Let me try something. So this is a container with a worker in the container, and worker in the wilds. Yeah. Maybe. Maybe here we can also say that check this container. Okay, so I think what we need to do is in this function select idle worker. When we found a container and we go to the next container, then I think we need to say while this then we need to say container, what is the type here, this next this +1. Oh, that doesn't work. std advance. Oh, that also doesn't work. Huh? Yeah, we need to give it a number. No? What? It's not an assignment, I see. Okay, then we do it differently. We do this, and then ++ next. Can we write this in one line? I think we need to do like this. Currents. Okay, and then we need to say we need to basically we need to update idle worker container. Okay, and then we have where's the worker stuff here? Worker. Oh boy, there's just way too much stuff in this class. Here. So we need a new class. Bool update idle worker container. Make it a static function. And then we pass idle worker container and idle worker container iterator. That somehow doesn't work. Containers. Containers. Iterator. And so here at the end of this guy, we have an update function. Okay, and in there we need to say, we need to pass result worker container and then current. No, next, this one. And it returns a boolean. And then we say if update. So that means we modify the container, then we start again, then we do, here we break. If we had to update, then then we say this guy equals current. What do we say? What do we say? Next equals this. While next is not that, and then we do next. Previous equals next plus plus. is this really necessary? It looks really complicated. Maybe we can simplify it, but basically we need to go back to the previous one. If we modify the next one. Think about this. Now we should be able to break here. And then this goes here, and there we say next. Worker container. Or we say result. Or we make this also inode. Yeah, could do that. Or we just return a iterator. So we would say next equals that. And so this is previous. Actually say here this is previous. Yeah. And this is next. We say if next is not previous, or if previous is not next. Let's say if that, then plus plus next, else break. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So previous is this. We pass the previous one in here. However, we saw, say, currents. Oh no, that's also not correct. No, that's stupid. That's stupid. So we need to have a next one, which is currents. And here we do current equals next. No. If update idle worker container, then yeah, current. No, we don't. We just do a continue. If not update, then we do this. Could that work? Let me see. So we have a current position. It's not the end, yeah. And so then the next one is here. Is there no function to get the next iterator here? STD next, I don't know. Oh yeah, it is. STD next currents. There we go. So that is next, and then we pass next here as well. And if we didn't need to update it, then we take this guy. Otherwise, we go back to currents and try again. Yeah, but there's a problem, isn't there? There's a problem here. Because it could be infinite loop, I guess. Yeah. That doesn't look right. We need to update. No, there can't be infinite loop. No, it might just work. Yeah. So we have next, not update idle worker container. Then we select this. If we updated the container, then we repeat. Then we go back to here. Then here we need to break as well. Okay, and then this function we would now go over all the we would look into this container. So we have here IT. If IT get contained. Yeah, we need to store the container object in here. I think we need the top contain by. And then on add worker, we need to also get this back in there. Can simplify this to that. And so if we remove the vital worker with this work, find objects, find idle worker, find. I think we need to here search for contain by. Yeah, get contain. Get contain by. Then here we need to do the same now. Maybe we can say, hold on. maybe we can say container object is maybe we need to check if any of the containers matches this thing. So we take one of the workers here. So we take the front worker and get contained by objects get contained by, and then we do while objects, it's not null, if object equals return true, else objects equals objects get contained by. Return false. Then we also don't need this here. Yeah. I think we can do that, yeah. Okay, so this means that we can find the idle worker container with any container object that is there. Yeah. But it's a problem, isn't it? I'm not so sure about this, yeah. Get contained by, so this is tricky, isn't it? Yeah. This find idle worker. Where's find idle worker used? It's here and here. No, the problem is, as soon as we have, if we would have different kind of workers in layers of containers in one bundle, then it becomes really fishy to maintain this. Yeah, it's still a problem. The more I think about it, the shadier it gets. Yeah. It works fine with one container level, but as soon as we have two, it's very tricky. Yeah, how can we do this? We probably can't do it. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting challenge. I don't know what the answer is. It's somewhere out there. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Farm work. Let's see. Yeah, it should be top contained by. Man. Good. Yeah, this is not as easy as I thought it would be. So basically here we would need to check if IT let's say we have a object contained by here. Container objects. Okay, so we have that. Then here we say if get top contained by is not let's see, let's say we add a function here, bool requires updates. Then here we say the condition for that is container objects is not get top contained by. And here we say if IT requires update, then we do stuff. Otherwise here return false. Okay, return true. Okay, and then if it requires the update, then we would have to take the worker, IT, worker, and workers. Do objects, worker objects. So I just say objects. Yeah, worker objects, good. Worker objects. And then we do IT workers dot erase IT. Yeah. Okay, why does this not work? Yeah. Oh, what is this problem now? I don't know why it doesn't want to compile now. It looks perfectly fine here. Okay, but let's assume that this would work. Then we would call add idle worker, worker objects. Yeah. We would actually call remove idle worker, worker objects. We need to make it not static. I think we can add another remove idle worker function. And then here we call this objects. Okay, so we remove the guy and then we add him again. And so in add idle worker, we do actually need then to add him get top contain by. But then if we remove him, I'm not sure if this works because the problem is the maybe we should return here also objects. That's funny, isn't it? Good. So we can say if not that, then return mWorkers dot front. Otherwise, null. Say if objects, local objects requires updates. Let's say while requires updates. It's not quite safe, isn't it? be kind of nice if we could loop here. But the problem is then the iterator will be invalidated at the last worker objects. How do we deal with that? Remove. Request updates. Objects. Objects. What is wrong now? const. Worker IT. Worker IT. It's not container objects. So worker IT expression must have pointer to class type, but it has, what is this? Pointer, aka const, object const. Oh, what is the problem now? Man. What is this? Plus worker IT. Okay, why is it complaining here? Expression must have pointer to class type, but it has type that. Object requires update. Expression must have pointer to class type, but it has type list const concentrator. Right. There we go. I can do object worker. You can also do plus plus. Worker. Then we say here bool last it workers equals 1. int updated counts 0. Updated count is not 0. And then we say here if last break last worker how about we rename this idle worker requires updates. Then we can also remove this. Let's say actually we can do update idle worker container. So int worker count equals this updated count if updated count equals worker count, then break return worker count equals updated counts. Here we can just do return true, return false. Then we don't need this. And this we can also do here, plus plus. Yeah, so if we have updated 100% of workers, then we return true, which means that this guy is now deleted. Yeah. The only issue I have with this is it's really not obvious what true means here, right? from the interface of the function. But okay, maybe we can revisit this later. Okay, but so yeah, if it returns false, then we can use this container. Otherwise, we can't. Okay. Could this work? I don't know. I don't know. It could work, it could not work. Okay, so basically what it does is when a worker needs updating in the container because he's now in another container, then we recognize it here with this call, idle worker requires update, and as long as there is one of these guys, then we remove that idle worker and we add that idle worker. And when we have removed all of them, then we return true, otherwise false. Yeah. Worker can't. I think we can make worker can't. Let me just leave it. Okay, and then here. Okay, so and we remove idle container, but now we have the problem here that if we search for this guy, we do find, we won't find it here. We won't find him, that's a problem. Yeah. Remove. Yeah. I think it's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah. I really tried to make this work, but I think it's too complicated. It won't work. Yeah. won't work. And it becomes really error prone because the logic becomes ever more complicated here. Yeah. Okay, you know what? I think we should scrap this bullshit. It's going nowhere. I will put it in a branch. Let's put a VIP select idle worker. Select next idle worker. Select next idle worker container fix. Yeah, it just, I can't get it to work. It's I think it's impossible. The problem is you can't reliably identify where the worker is. If he has multiple parents, like how do you know which parent to look for? You would have to no, I think it's bogus. Just it's getting ever more complicated and intricate. It's not a good idea. Unless there's like a really elegant way, but I don't see it. I would like to scrap it, but I feel like I'm close to the solution. You know, now I have spent so much time and, you know, I just would like to finish this. I feel like I'm close, but also very far away because it seems so intricate that it's hard to fix. But it's possible that there is an elegant solution to this problem. That is possible. I just don't see it. Yeah. There's this one problem here that we don't know where exactly the worker is located if he has multiple parents. That is a problem. Like, should he be located in a top container or not? We don't know. He could be in all of them. Yeah. So maybe we would have to make this search here more robust, where we say, yeah, we could do that. Is contain. So we could say, container objects get contained by. Good. And then we say while container object is not null, and then we go in here, and then we do container find container objects, and then so if we find one, we go in here, and then we do if If that is not the end, that's a good idea. Idle workers, that's a good idea, yeah. It's not the end. Then we are done and we can break. Otherwise, we keep going. Container object get contained by. Check next container. This could work. So we start, we first look at the first container here. Is contained, container object is this, while not null. Then we check if we find this container here. If we found it, then we check if we find the worker in there. If we didn't find the worker, if we did find the worker, we are done. We break out of this loop. Otherwise, we look at the next container. If there is no next container, then this is done. And we have effectively didn't find the guy. Yeah, this will work. Okay, that's cool. That solves the biggest problem. Oh, that's good. Okay, now it means we can find the worker efficiently, no matter in what container he's in, right? So he could be placed here in his first level container or in a second level container. It doesn't matter. It would find the worker efficiently, reasonably efficiently. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I like that. That looks robust. Okay, and then here, when we have the update idle worker, we find the guy, we remove now the idle worker, and we should find him everywhere. Get top contained by. Hold on. Then this I think this container should actually then it should have a fixed object here. Yeah. It should have a fixed container object. Yeah. Now the question is, do we still need this function then? Container objects, get contained by. Yeah. It's contained, yeah. Now we can do a top container. Next. Top contained by. I think then here we should get container objects here and here as well. Then we no longer need this function. Then we remove this guy. Okay, this could work. Maybe. Okay, so now the idle worker container has a fixed object. Yeah. And it requires an update if the top contained by is no longer this guy. Yeah, then we require an update. Okay, and then this looks now correct. So why can we maybe put that into another function? Let me see. Because I think we need to reuse this in the get first idle worker. I would like to move this function one up. Front idle worker container. Okay, can we move this here into a separate function? Get first idle worker. Get next idle worker in container. Void. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then in here, we would now do this here. It shouldn't be a const though. And this also can't be const. And then here we need to say return. And here return null. And then we need to actually pass updates. this is wrong here. I think this needs to be a static function. And this here as well. Yeah. So we need a idle worker containers. Idle worker containers. Containers. Get first idle worker container. How about that? No, get next. Get next. What is a bit upsetting is that those functions, they take those different kind of arguments and all this shit. That makes it a bit complicated. Can we improve that? Oof. Okay. So what I don't like right now is that when we call down here the remove idle worker functions, then it goes here into this controlling player thingy. I don't like that. Can we idle worker? I guess it's good enough for now. Yeah. Idle worker. Remove idle worker. Add idle worker. Ah man, this is some bullshit. Can we just do this? How about we pass it the result, find worker result. So next is this next current IT. How about we just use IT here? IT equals next. Then here we do container. Containers array. Okay, and if it's not empty, then we return this guy front. First. No? No, we can actually return the first one. Yeah. Unless idle workers array. I think we need another function. Get first idle worker container. where we return get first idle worker container. First front begin. Then we do while it is not containers dot end. Next. Okay, so basically this is doing the same as this, but a little bit different. It doesn't look into the next one, but it looks into the current one. That actually maybe we need to remove this here. Yeah. Turn IT, otherwise IT is next. IT is not end. IT next. Looks into next. Next this. Get first idle worker. Okay, and so here somehow it complains because of this, yeah. Begin. There we go. updates. Maybe here I remove player number. I think this logic is way too complicated. Yeah, this is way too complicated for those edge cases. Oh boy. Okay, let's see if that compiles. There, I think that will be first step. Oh boy. Oh boy. Actually, we still need to do something. Here. Select this object. This gets next idle worker container. There we go. Results dot container idle worker containers and iterator. And then here, select this object equals get kernel. Okay. I think this is super complicated. Yeah. Super complicated now because of this update that we need to do. Yeah. It's still a cheaper update, and it's like really an edge case, but it sucks. Yeah, I think it's bad. It's too complicated. The problem is this added complexity to the program makes it more error prone. That I think is the biggest problem. Yeah. That's not good. Well, it's not quite right, is it? Well, object and maybe like so. While this object and contain by objects. Yeah, could probably do that. Okay. My expectation is that this will crash now. It won't properly work. I'm not just curious if I can get it to work or not. That's all that is. Well, I'm not really confident that this is a good solution. It's way too complicated. Yeah. It's too complicated. And complicated is never good. Yeah. Okay, so that works. Then let's build some shit here. Okay, so that already doesn't work. Yeah, I think it's useless. I will merge this now down here. I will stop this. It makes no sense to continue. No. It makes no sense. One 1.04. Okay, that's cool. Moving the retaliation option from the settings to the game command bar. Moving a retaliation option from the settings to the game command bar. I have to open the settings to change it. True. Yeah. The retaliation setting, it could be like a setting that you set on the fly, right? Yeah. There's no reason that this should be buried inside the options menu. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. It is a gameplay mechanic that does not need to be exclusive to the options menu. Minor patch. Oh, moving from settings to the game command bar. Oh, it's in the wrong project. Game command bar. Well, requires code. Code changes. Labels executable. Minor. Design. Enhancements. GUI. Design. Minor. Yeah. I think this was already reported somewhere. He opens a lot of duplicates. I think this is already reported somewhere here. Game adding custom game rules for list for matches. Match setting. Match settings. I don't know. It's reported somewhere. Match settings. Match. Game options. This is definitely reported. It's definitely already tracked somewhere, but I cannot find it right now. Duplicates. There we go. Don't allow Alt F4. It should be mostly a matter of removing this macro. It's not that simple. What if the game is in the loading screen? What if the player is in a lobby? I also don't like the idea of the button sometimes working and sometimes not. I don't think this can prevent a rage quit if the player sees that the game doesn't close. He would just open the menu and hit the exit button. Yes, but closing the game through exit button is okay. Using Alt plus F4 will kill game unless we also make it exit game before shutdown. When in multiplayer, make it exit game, surrender and exit game before shutdown. Make it surrender. Make it surrender. Surrender and exit game. And then shutdown. Screenshot for free build. Yeah, it's not possible. Okay. Yeah, so we wasted a lot of time here with this idle worker shit, and we have nothing to show for it. Let me tackle some issue that actually matters. This is a problem that I have with working on low priority bugs. Like, you can spend a lot of time on low priority bugs trying to implement it well. So that's why I advocate for just focusing on the bigger issues, or like if it's something like, small quick thing, then that's fine. But now I probably spend 6+ hours on this idle worker and I have nothing to show for it. So that was not a very efficient use of the time. Yeah. Let me see what criticals we have here. Label critical. 37. Game selects. Replicate. Okay, the replicate gen 2 features, that makes sense. Crash after upgrading when loading maps with unusual characters. Crash when too many units are moving. That's Pathfinder. Yeah. Edge scrolling doesn't work in window mode. This is something that we can look into. That's a major pain point. Removing this check and line allows edge scrolling to work in window mode. However, with only this change, it only works if the cursor is both at the edge of the window and at the edge of the screen. So borderless full screen. Okay, but we can test it together with Gentoo. That's no problem. Okay, let me take a look at this. Maybe we can do a quick fix for this. Look at xlat. Let me actually go to main branch. Ah, it's a file. 301. Line 301. This one. Right. Scroll screen edge. Okay, so it looks like it's just a matter of removing this check here and then we're done. Yeah, let's see. So we need to have Gentoo enabled, which we have, yeah. Raw mouse position. Good. This, yeah, and then good. Let's test that. Okay, so let's enable the cursor lock here. Yeah, okay. And then we go to skirmish and play game. And that works. Yeah, cool. Much appreciated. That's really cool. That's really cool. Yep, that's nice. That's a major pain point for many players who like to scroll this way. It never worked in window mode. But it was a really easy fix, so it could have been fixed with Gentoo because of the simplicity, but I never figured where to look, I guess. Okay, that's cool. Easy fix. Yeah, we still need to implement the cursor lock thingy though, so that is missing. Okay, well, that's pretty cool. Okay, we can open a pull request for this. Let me also do it then in generals. Okay, see, this is a good, that was good use of time. 2 minutes, yeah, and we fixed the critical bug. Yeah, critical in the sense for user experience. It's not a critical, like, showstopper or anything, but it's critical user experience. And it's important that this is tackled. I'm not an edge scroller myself, but I certainly can understand the pain if someone cannot use this. Oh, we're in the wrong project. Oof. Oof. Here, this one. Okay, so here we remove this as well. And put a comment, Superhack as a tweak. Who found this originally? Jesus Christ, what is his name? Ayumi. Ayumi. Dates 25th 2025. Fixes tweak Ayumi. Can now scroll, can now use edge scrolling and scrolling in windowed mode. Allows, enables edge scrolling in windowed mode. Don't need a dot here. Okay, actually, maybe it's better. Good. Okay, so that is generals, and that is 0 hour. There we go. Okay, cool. I created a branch and fix edge scrolling windowed modes. Oof, that diff. That's a better diff. Okay. Before we open, I'm glad to use a new Alien Droid made a suggestion today that maybe we should use conventional commits titles instead of our custom ones. And so we would use style. No, we would use why is there no tweak? There's fix feed. Why is there no tweak? So how about we use this? We just use tweak and we call it look at xlats. Enable edge scrolling in windowed modes. Okay, so should we introduce this thing into our contributing, maybe? So currently we have feature. Performance resistor. Title of and commits begin with title of a new pull request and or commits within begin with conventional commit tags. Begin with a conventional commit tag. Let's see. The title consists of a concise and descriptive sentence about the change in a commit, and again, beginning with an uppercase letter and ending without a dot. The title ideally begins with a word that describes the action that the change takes. For example, fix this, change that, add those, refactor thing. Good. Fix system. Oh, it's a bit redundant now here, this fix. Fix system. So bug fix system. Bug fix. And then we say here commit tags are commit types are type types are fix, feeds, build. What is a chore? What does that mean? What is that chore? Is there no description of what this means? I don't know what that means. But what does chore mean? What is this? It doesn't explain what it means. Commit title chore. What does that mean? Updating grunt tasks, no production code change. So it's like documentation or what? I don't know. I have to say I don't find the selection of keywords not particularly exhaustive. Yeah. So, I mean, that's some docs, okay. I don't know, what about style? That's weird. Perf, test, okay. I would like to have, I would also like to have bug fix. And you have bug fix here. We have feature, builds. Okay, let's try to keep them a bit in line. So we do want a tweak, refactor, tweak. We have performance. Let's put that behind feature. Chore. Let's put this down here. How about we sort them alphabetically? CI. Tweak, tests, chore. Okay, so bug fix, build, chore, CI, docs, fix, feed, perf, refactor, style, test, tweak. To do is not, info, no, tweak, refactor we have here, performance we have there, feature, compile. Then how about build, compile, build. How about we rename this to build then as well? Build, bug fix, fix. Hello, it's commit types are commits for for the optional scope, pick some words that describes the area of the overall area that the change touches. Pick a suitable word that describes the overall area that the change touches. And lowercase everything, okay. The title consists of a concise description, beginning with a lowercase letter and ending without a dot. So optional scope behind the type. Pick a suitable word that describes the overall area that the change touches. Sehr good. Bug fix, build, chore, CI, docs, fix, feed, perf, refactor, style, test, tweak. Okay, then we could do that, yeah. Then here this add compile. Then let me search for all these. There are a few. Add compile. Then we can rename it to add build. Add build. Oh. Okay, so the title of a new pull request and/or commits within begin with a conventional commit tag. The title consists of a concise and descriptive sentence about the change in a commit, beginning with a lowercase letter and ending without a dot. Oops. Without a dot. The title ideally begins with a word that describes the action that the change takes. For example, fix this, change that, add those, refactor thing. Okay, and we need to also make these lowercase now. Okay, so we have bug fix, build, shore, CI, docs, fix, feed, perf, refactor, style, test, tweak. For the optional scope, behind the type, pick a suitable word that describes the overall area that the change touches. Good, bug fix, fix uninitialized memory access, bad, minimal changes for successful build, dot. Okay, I'm down to this. Let's see if the people are happy with this. So we get rid of these titles here. Yeah. Okay, cool. Begin with a regarding this, is there like an update, like 1.1 or so? No. 1.0, 1.1. No. Contains custom types. Specific to this project. Extended. Then this is a, okay, so how would we say this then? Docs. Docs. Contributing. Introduce. Introduce conventional commits. Conventional commits to contributing MD. Oh shit, I directly merged it into main branch. That's not what I wanted to do. Reset current branch to here, mixed. Contributing, change contributing. Maybe we should have a this commit, and then we make a second change. Docs, comments, refactor, comments, replace at compile with add build. And comments. Project comments. Okay, let's see if they're happy with that. Merge with rebase. This change suggests to change commit title tags from our custom ones to the conventional extended commit tags as highlighted by alien droid 1. Our current custom ones to the conventional extended commit tag as highlighted. Custom currents, custom ones to the gen ZH tags are sort of obsolete anyway because we always replicate the changes to generals in the same commit anyway. Originally it was intended to not lose overview, oversight over which changes need replicating, which commits need replicating to generals. I also adjusted I also renamed add compile to add build so that it is consistent with the conventional commits type name. Encode comments so that it is consistent. Okay, so this is minor documentation. Okay. Check if conventional commits a proposer here. Maybe maybe we do we rename this one here, revert to docs. Okay. Okay, and then for the other one, then let's make a trial run here. So this is then tweak, look at xlat, yeah. Then we rename this as well. Okay, and this is enhancements. It says bug here. Yeah, it's not a bug. It is an enhancement. Gen. General ZH. Enhancement. Critical. Is it really critical though? Maybe critical is a bit too much on this. Maybe we can say it's major. Critical. I would say it's a major. Yeah. Well, it could be critical. It's somewhere between critical and major. I will put it to major for now. Yeah. Resolves that. This change allows for edge scrolling in windowed mode. Tested together with Gentoo and its cursor lock feature. Was tested with Gentoo and its window cursor lock feature. Okay. Okay, cool. Milestone. Important features. Okay, cool. Then yeah, let's see if we want to do this or not. I guess it makes sense because yeah, this Gen Z age that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah. Begins. The title of a new pull request and a commit within begins with a conventional commit tag. Okay. Begins. Okay. Use Markdown for the link. Yeah, okay. Conventional commit tag. Conventionalcommits.org. Okay. Conventional commits. Like so. Begins with a conventional commits tag. Title begins with a. Yeah. Furthermore, the title of any pull request and our commits within begins. The title of any and our commits within begins with a. Furthermore, it consists of a concise and descriptive sentence about the change and or commit, beginning with a lowercase letter and ending without a dot. The title ideally begins with a word that describes the action that the change takes. Consists of a concise and descriptive. I'd say the tag is followed by a concise and descriptive sentence about the change and or commit, beginning with a lowercase letter and ending without a dot. The title ideally begins with a word that describes the action that the change takes. The sentence ideally begins with a word that describes the action that the change takes. For example, let's change that factor thing. Okay. Anything else? Begins. Fixed. Fixed. The title consists. The title consists. The title consists. Where did we write that? Did I already change that? The title consists. The tag is followed, I wrote. The tag is followed. Fixed. Conventional commits require a colon after the keywords. Conventional commits require a colon. Where? These are missing in the example list. Title. The sentence ideally begins with a word that describes the action that the change takes. Refers to the sentence, not commit tag clarified. Okay, you already deleted that. So far we use in the past fixed, created, added. That's not true. We always used fix, add, move. Okay, I have no idea why this is pending. That makes no sense. No idea how that happened. Oh, that's weird. That's extremely weird. Okay. CI should be changed to verify correct use of conventional commits. Oof. What is this? Yeah, but I don't know if we can do that. Yes, I do not know how to do that. I mean, there is the CMake, no, build, no. where's the CMake? Ah, here, GitHub workflows. So valid tags is this, right? And then I don't know how this code works here. Yeah, someone needs to fix this. I don't know how to fix this, yeah. It requires changes in I don't know how to do that, so I can't do it. Okay, so from my side, this looks good. Yeah. Okay, cool. Then I will take a break here. Has been 3 hours, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a bit of a shame that we wasted so much time with the idle worker thingy, but I thought I can implement it better than the suggested fix from Stubjax, but looks like I failed miserably. It becomes way too complicated because of the stacked containers. Yeah, that makes managing this a pain. Another solution would be to like issue updates when the container type of our idle worker changes, but that requires another hook somewhere in code, right? So that's not great. Maybe I revisit it at some point, but I don't want to do it now. We should probably work on other things. Yeah. Good. Then, yeah, I will take a break here. I wish you a great day or night. Until next time. Goodbye.